There is not and never will be a bike that is well suited both for single track and for all-day rides on a multi-lane freeway. However, that does not mean you can't have your cake and eat it too. The unicorn bike does not exist, but the unicorn bike setup does. Every single time a new adventure bike is announced, the first question anyone asks, and the one that you'll see the most probably, is it the unicorn? The unicorn is the theoretical perfect ADV bike, one that can cruise comfortably all day on the pavement, but still absolutely destroy the toughest off-road terrain when you leave it. This ideal bike somehow possesses the on-road comfort and features of a big GS, while still being lightweight and nimble enough to take on gnarly trails like a 500 EXC-F. Well, if you're looking for the unicorn, I have good news and I have bad news. The bad news is that the unicorn bike is obviously impossible to actually create. Things like cruise control, electronic suspension, and an engine big enough to actually cruise comfortably at 80 on the freeway are heavy. Heavy is the enemy of nimble off-road prowess. The ideal off-road bike is lightweight, torquey, and well-suited to being thrown around and ridden up, over, and through the rocks, roots, and sand you'll find on the most technical trails. All of this can be done on a bike that weighs over 500 pounds, technically, but that's far from ideal. There is not and never will be a bike that is well-suited both for single track and for all-day rides on a multi-lane freeway. However, that does not mean you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can have a bike that will do both extremely well, which brings me to the good news. The unicorn bike does not exist, but the unicorn bike setup does. It can't be done with one bike, but it can absolutely be done with two. The unicorn ADV bike exists, but you have to buy two bikes to make it a reality. Before I go on, here is an obviously necessary disclaimer. I'm by no means suggesting that buying two bikes is necessary. Not everyone has the financial freedom for that, and it's by no means something you have to do in order to enjoy ADV riding. Most people do just fine with one bike that's set up for the types of riding they do and enjoy the most. Times are hard, and the last thing I want is to suggest that you need to spend a lot of money to get into ADV. You don't. A cheap used bike and a duffel bag will get you out there. Just make sure you buy a good helmet. What I am saying is that I see the same pattern repeated over and over again. Step 1. Person realizes that riding harder stuff on a smaller bike is fun, but it's also fun to go on long trips and camp and stuff, and a bigger bike makes that easier. Step 2. Person tries to buy a bike that will, quote, do it all. Step 3. Person realizes that do-it-all bike does everything kind of okay, but doesn't really do anything well. Step 4, person trades in do-it-all bike for one that does one extreme or the other very well. Step 5, person misses the other half, whichever extreme they didn't buy the bike for. Step 6, person buys second bike that does the other thing. The more people I talk to, the more I realize that a large percentage of people end up with the same two bikes in their garage. One ADV bike for longer trips that require more gear, and one smaller dual sport for riding harder, more fun terrain. You can achieve the unicorn, but you need two bikes to do it. The two-bike system has a ton of advantages. Number 1, instead of trying to find one bike that'll do most of what you want, you have two bikes you can specialize for different ends of the spectrum. Number 2, the do-it-all bike always sucks. Even the smallest bike that's still mostly comfortable on the highway, say an Ibex 450 or a 390 Adventure, is still gonna suck on single track. And if you find a dual sport that's tolerable on single track, like a 300L or a DR650, it's always way less comfortable than an ADV bike on the highway. Number 3, no suffering on the highway on the way to cool rides. Number 4, no throwing out your back repeatedly picking up a big bike that shouldn't go where you keep taking it. The number 5 advantage of the two-bike system is far fewer limitations. Just as an example, if you're going to an ADV rally with cool but difficult riding nearby, you can just trailer your dual sport out there. You can bring your comfy camping setup, have a pleasant trip there, and still be able to tackle the hardest riding because it's close to where you're camping. Whereas before, you either had to bring the big bike that's good on the highway and can carry all your camping gear, but limit the riding you do once you get to the rally, or suffer on the highway to get there and not be able to bring enough camping gear to be comfy. And yes, I realize you can trailer your single bike too, but the do-it-all bike still limits your options when you get there. Number 7 is versatility. You can do everything. When you want to go on a long riding and camping trip somewhere far away where the riding is challenging but not crazy, you've got your big bike, perfect bike for it, right? You can get there comfortably and tackle the stuff because it's still off-road capable. But if you want to go crazy trail riding with friends on dirt bikes, well, your other bike is perfect for that. You can do both. With the do-it-all bike, you couldn't really do either one of these. I mean, you could, but the whole thing sucks. It just sucks the whole time. You're just like wishing it was slightly better at everything because it's not good at anything. Why am I telling you all this? Is it to shame you for buying the wrong bike or imply that you need to have Scrooge McDuck money to enjoy ADV? No, I'm telling you this because it's something that I see really often. People always seem to end up here. A couple examples. The most obvious example is me. I almost always have one ADV and one dual sport bike in the garage, and I'm able to cover all of my riding opportunities with it. Notable past combos, for those of you that have been around for a while, I had the 250L and the Africa Twin. I had my Tenere Norden at the same time because I was trying to review both, and my DRZ. I had the 450L and the Tenere. I since then have had my 300L Rally and everything else, and right now I have an 04 DRZ and my Ibex and the 390. I don't have a big adventure bike right now, but I will have one soon enough. Another example, Duck Fan has my old 450L and a Desert X, all bases covered. Trav has a 450L and an Africa Twin, and now a Cruiser, but we don't talk about that. All of his bases are covered. Motocamp Nerd Ben, as another example, has a GS and an XT250. He had a 300L Rally, but it bucked him off, so he sold it. I always ask people I meet what they ride, and the overwhelming majority of experienced riders seem to have one of each bike in their garage. They always have a dual sport and an adventure bike. It is 80% of the time. I'm telling you this because my hope is to help you avoid the annoying missteps along the way. If I had known that the two-bike system was the goal from the beginning, I could have saved myself a lot of time, effort, and money. That's all well and good, but how do you engage the two-bike system? How do you make it happen? Well, it's easiest if you have no bikes to begin with, which is probably not you if you're already here. I suggest, if that's the case, that you start with a dual sport and learn to ride off-road on it. You'll build your skills more quickly and easily, and the things that annoy you about the dual sport will guide your thought processes as you start thinking about buying the ADV bike, and you'll appreciate the benefits of both bikes because you've experienced the limitations of only having one. Hopefully, that will allow you to skip the do-it-all bike phase. If you already have one end of the spectrum, a dual sport or an ADV bike, think about what's difficult to do on the bike you have, and then use that info to think about and decide on a bike that would work best for just the things that are difficult on the bike you have. Don't try to find a middle ground, cover both extremes. One bike for each. If you already have the do-it-all bike that you're frustrated with, well then you probably don't need much convincing. I'd suggest figuring out which type of riding you enjoy most and attempting to trade your do-it-all bike for a bike that does that. So if you like the long highway rides, get an adventure bike that covers that end of the spectrum. If you want to do harder stuff, get the dual sport. Or if you're just frustrated because the big bike is hard to ride and you're trying to learn, get a dual sport. Then once you have that bike, ride it for a while and start thinking about if you need a second bike to do the other half. Once you decide that you do, because you will, then you can start thinking about how to make that happen. The real problem here isn't that bikes are too specialized. That's mostly unavoidable because physics. The actual issue is that all types of ADV riding are so damn fun. We just want to do them all. Multi-day road trips, camping along the way, fun. Challenging yourself on ATV trails, fun. Going camping and riding cool stuff nearby, fun. Going to rallies and being comfortable at camp but still being able to ride the fun stuff, it's right there in the name, fun. BDR trips in other states, fun. Wandering around in the woods, taking every side road you see just to see where it goes, such fun. Hopping over logs, fun. Cruising comfortably at 80 on the freeway, headed somewhere awesome, fun, fun. Commuting or just running to town on a motorcycle, even that is fun. Again, I am not suggesting that the two-bike system is necessary to enjoy ADV, but it is something I see pretty often. I've never heard anyone say, I'm so glad I went back to only one bike. So, if your current bike is annoying or limiting you, or you've already been on the roller coaster of buying and selling bikes trying to find the one, maybe this idea can help you find a solution. Embrace the two-bike system. Become one of us. Blame it on me if you have to. I get that a lot. Dork made me do it. I think that gets uttered to a lot of spouses these days. I'm happy to be your scapegoat. Just remember, it's simple math. Dual sport plus ADV bike equals happiness. Have you graduated to the two-bike system? What bikes are in your garage? What do-it-all bikes did you buy along the way? let us know in the comments. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to the channel because I'm the Dork in the Road and I want to be your internet riding buddy. And I'm better than your regular riding buddies because I come with a mute button. If you want to support the channel while you're shopping at places like Rocky Mountain ATV, Moto Camp Nerd, Moscow Moto, Butler Maps, Cyclops, Motion Factory Foot Pegs, and a bunch of other places, there should be a list of affiliate links in the description and in a pinned comment. You click the link, buy what you were going to buy anyway, I get a small commission, and you get the satisfaction of helping facilitate dorky motorcycling content in perpetuity. Thank you for watching, I appreciate you, and please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.
Excellent!